You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 37. I'm Nicholas Prom.
And I'm James Nepper.
All right, Jimmy and I are doing another Wednesday Warrior edition, new comic books.
All right.
What are we starting with now?
So we're starting out with Legends of the Dark Knight, issue number 9.
Nice. So this is a great anthology title. If you don't want to get deep in, like, oh, where do I start with any book, these are all one-and-done stories. There are one or several short stories in this book. And another book we're reading, but we'll get to that later.
Yes.
So
this one has 2 stories in it, and the first one introduces Batman fighting Scarecrow.
I wouldn't say it's introducing. It's not the first time they fought. But who did this? Christos Gage, right?
I believe, yes, Christos Gage, yes.
Yeah. So he's a kind of a big deal.
Kind of. I guess you could say that.
Well, no, he's a name in current comics, definitely, that people are like, yeah, I like the Christos Gage. I'm trying to remember what I've read by him, but this was really, I enjoyed the story a lot. Do you want to talk about the plot?
Sure, why not? I guess it starts off with a Scarecrow throwing out some smoke and hallucinogenic gas around, and Batman's just,
Is it a rave or a fight?
It's a rave.
Oh!
Yes, it is a rave.
Just kidding.
No,
Jimmy's
okay.
kidding.
So, yeah, they're in a fight. He's throwing out some hallucinogenic gas, and Batman is telling Scarecrow how he has his, filtration system, and about how he knows all his old tricks, and, there's nothing he can do to, slip one up and, trick him. And
then Scarecrow's like, yeah, this is absorbed through the skin.
And,
Oh,
and Batman, of course, doesn't cover his whole face, so...
Yeah.
So then it flashes into this image, though, where it's in the eyes of Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Alfred is actually checking up on him, and it turns out that Batman is laying inside this medical bed, and he can't move. And Alfred's telling him about how he's having one of his dreams again. So
yeah, like he's totally debilitated, and he's after years of crime fighting and fighting supervillains and stuff, he's just completely broken mentally and physically.
And he's just going through this turmoil of trying to come to terms with the fact that his memory's screwed up. He doesn't know why he's stuck in this wheelchair anymore, and he's convinced it's the Scarecrow, but every single time he brings up a reason as to why it must be the Scarecrow, somebody shoots him down with an even better response.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like, okay, it's that question your own reality kind of thing.
You're like, is this like a sort of alternate reality thing, where Batman is just out of action, or is he actually under hallucination? And
I love this kind of story.
I thought it was I actually feel like I've read a few of them, and I sometimes get a little bored with them, but I felt like this one was well done. Yeah. I was really happy with it. It's one of the better ones I think I've read before.
Yeah, I mean, this has shades of the Superman story for the man who has everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of stories that we probably saw on Batman the Animated Series with the Mad Hatter or with the Scarecrow,
mm-hmm.
Where they're just screwing with his reality.
It's kind of like a similar play like the Vertigo comic that we're reading.
Yeah, and we'll talk
Proteus.
about that.
No.
Proteus?
No.
You're thinking... What?
Is it called Vertigo? The one that we were reading just last week?
Oh, last week?
Polaris. Oh. It's Polaris.
No, I don't even think that's what it's called. It's called...
Polarity.
Polarity, and it's...
The fourth time is a charm, by the way.
When you said Vertigo, I thought you were talking about Vertigo, the DC imprint.
Right.
But that was throwing me off, because that was a comic from Boom Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's okay.
But, okay, so as you proceed through the comic, Batman actually eventually breaks out of the illusion.
Yeah.
And his point is that, so he's recognized the fact that maybe his mentality has gone away, and he's been physically, just been impaired over the years of being beat in the same place and, hurt over and over again. But he realizes that he's still in prime physical condition.
Man.
Yeah, so, and he's just kind of like, why would that be if I've been in a wheelchair for 5 years?
Word. Yeah.
And then, so he's fighting Scarecrow a bit more.
Yeah.
And then he fades back into the reality where Alfred's actually having him train and exercise a bit.
Nice.
And pushing him to do this. And then you're like, wait a second, what? Maybe he's actually not hallucinating. And then it pulls right back out again, and he's fighting Scarecrow, and he's tipping people off that, he can get caught and that they need to throw Scarecrow in jail, and that's the end of story 1.
Yeah.
So beautifully put, by the way.
It's pretty cool. I really like that story. I love the art. It's well written. And there's a backup story with Catwoman. It's called Tap Tap. And who's the creative team on this, Jimmy?
It's written by Ray Fox, and the art is done by Stefan Rowe. So,
yeah, I don't know if that. Oh, that's right. I don't know if that's a Stephanie or Stefan. I'm not sure. So male, female, but the art's really terrific. So whoever you are.
Yes, I am definitely digging the art in this one. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So it's Batman and Catwoman are breaking into this this like super like tight security like mansion of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or he was tailing her. She's breaking in. I was a little confused about that.
The impression I got from the beginning was that he was tailing Catwoman.
Yeah.
I felt, because like right here it says this has her mark all over it as
Right.
he's first crawling into the building.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so he's actually following through the house trying to figure out where exactly she's wandered to, and all these traps are being set off. So that just shows, how sly and like slick Catwoman is.
The cunning, yeah.
How cunning. Actually, it's like this like electricity super speed now. Like look at it. She there's like this electricity surging around her, and
she was wearing this stuff on her costume, I think, to probably to sniff her out, to let them know there was ultra or what's that called, infrared or lasers or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just equipment that she's put on herself.
Okay.
She doesn't have powers.
So the
no powers.
Okay, good. Okay, because I was really thrown off by that.
Yeah.
So eventually, Batman ends up catching Catwoman as she just cracked open the safe, and she lets him know that actually, dude, what I'm doing is I'm stopping this guy who's bad. He's actually if you want to.
He's funding terrorists or something like that.
Yeah, he's making billions and he's giving money to terrorists and whatnot. And
yeah, and Batman's like, look, you're still going to jail. It's still breaking and entering. It's like, way to be a tool, Batman. But I mean.
She was kind of breaking in, and she did want to take all his money.
Yeah, she was going to take the money, too. It wasn't purely good intentions. So, yeah.
So that was issue 9 of Legends of the Dark Knight.
Yeah, I read the first couple issues of that book, and I'm glad to be, coming back and checking it out again.
If you haven't started on any of the earlier issues, obviously it's...
you don't have to. You can come in at any point.
No. So I was definitely a fan of that. Yeah.
So our next book is that other anthology book I was talking about. And this came out last week, but I picked it up today. It's The Adventures of Superman. And it's, I think, what were there, 3 self-contained stories in this?
Yes, I believe there were 3.
Yes, and hooray. Because it's like Superman. I really like this first story. Chris Samney, who is the current artist on Daredevil's ongoing book, did the art. And
I like the art, by the way. Actually, in a way, it's fresh, but at the same time, it still has this kind of classic feel to it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about this story? Who wrote this, by the way? Oh, Jeff Lemire, right?
Jeff Parker, actually.
Really?
Yes, the writer Jeff Parker.
Oh. Well, I'm mistaken then. Why was I thinking Jeff Lemire?
Excuse me,
because
sorry.
I'm crazy.
Allergies.
It's okay. So what's happening in this story, Jimmy?
So it's starting off with there's this woman who's about to crash off of her motorcycle, and Superman swoops in and saves her. And it turns out that there's this guy who's just losing it. He's freaking out. He's calling everyone liars. He's yelling at everyone. He's breaking things.
You are freaking out, man. Sorry.
It's all good. So Superman's just doing his best to protect the people and keep damage to a minimum while he talks with the paramedics in the area as to who this guy is and what can be done. And as it turns out, he actually seems to have recently, within the past couple of minutes, just developed these powers, and he's just become mentally unstable.
Turns out he's been doing this special new meth that gives you superpowers and then kills the crap out of you.
And it's funded by Lex Luthor.
Surprise!
Surprise, I'm so surprised. Oh no.
I'm not surprised by the surprise.
Actually,
that reminds me a little bit of that storyline that had been going in the Marvel books about the mutant growth hormone that people were taking.
Oh, yes, kick the mutant growth hormone.
Yeah, except that wasn't like, I smoke rocks, Joe Rogan, and I got powers. So...
Yeah, this one actually, I swore, so the crystals glow blue, and I was expecting them to be blue kryptonite.
Blue kryptonite?
Yeah,
what does blue kryptonite do again? I forgot.
Oh god, I can't remember. Honestly, I think I remember red makes him angry.
No, red has unpredictable.
Is it unpredictable?
It does something different every time.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know
Blue. Wait. blue kryptonite is what's dangerous to Bizarro. It's harmless to Kal-El.
Right.
That's what it is. Up top.
Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Okay, but that would be cool if it was blue kryptonite.
Doesn't it depower Superman?
Blue kryptonite?
No.
Gold kryptonite will take away his powers forever.
Okay. And then there's
there's jewel kryptonite, and I can't remember what that does.
like violet kryptonite. I think like trades bodies or something weird like that, or like does like weird transference of like abilities or.
Weird. I haven't experienced.
You know,
that.
I'm talking off of Smallville lore, though, which I feel was pretty accurate. I don't know, but
I don't know. I haven't really watched Smallville ever, so.
Well, actually, we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So anyways, back to the story. So this first story ends with Lex Luthor sitting in his limo being like, oh, well, you know, we almost got it perfected, but, you know, we need to make sure that the powers occur in the people sooner, so that way when they die of aneurysms...
Yeah, isn't that nice?
We can utilize their abilities for evil. So the second story...
This is the one Jeff Lemire wrote.
This one is probably my favorite.
I love this. It's basically two kids... go to their tree fort and they're imagining like
they're Superman and his
Superman.
villains. It's very cool. I love it because I don't know why it's sort of nostalgic and the art style. The art style changes from when it's the kids to when it's the images of Superman fighting the villains.
Their imagination.
Yeah, their imagination.
And the dialogue is so great because they're like, I don't want to be Brainiac anymore. I want to be Bizarro. And so
in the middle of these epic scenes when it's like images of Superman flying through the air punching enemies.
Yeah, it's like there's Bizarro has infiltrated the Fortress of Solitude to capture the city of Kandor, and they're like, I want to be Bizarro fighting Superman on the moon. And then it's, changing, like, how about I'm Luthor, or how about I'm the Parasite, or Zod, or Mr. Mixius Fiddlick. And the kid, of course, is like, whatever his name is, the imp. I thought that was great. I thought that was really a lot of fun.
I absolutely agree. Just the art style for when it goes to Superman fighting villains in their imagination, it's very classic.
And I love
very classic.
I love the designs they chose. The Brainiac is the '80s kind of Terminator looking Brainiac, and then it's Luthor in his like Iron Man power suit, which I love. I always love that costume. And you get the classic Parasite look, the classic Zod.
I just love Bizarro, so. He's my
Me and Bizarro fan number one.
I love Bizarro. He's so great.
Oh.
So it just ends up with it's a really cool throwback. Essentially, this little story.
It's called Fortress, and this is the one that Jeff Lemire wrote. I wasn't crazy. And he wrote and he was the artist on it.
Oh.
So then that's fun.
Whoa! I didn't know that he was also the artist.
He pulled a John Byrne on this story.
Damn, and he switched between art styles, which is really cool.
Some people do that. Like, Keith Giffen has, like, 3 different styles he uses.
Because, like, the style with the kids, when it's actually them, is, like, kind of watercolor-based and very sketchy. And then, like, that's cool.
Yeah. Like, if you ever see Keith Giffen's art, it's like he's got this weird style that he uses when he does, like, Ambush Bug. And then he's got this really cool, like, Kirby-like style that he did for OMAC. And then he's got his other style that he did on Legion of Superheroes in the 80s. Very versatile artist, to have do the
so many different styles. And
I wish we had some of that art to show you, but just
I'll definitely need.
I don't know what made me think of. I don't know what made me think of Keith Giffen, but anyway. So and then there's
the third story,
which is Bizarro,
and it's this little kid, and he's in a burning building screaming, and Bizarro shows up to save the day, but he throws the kid out of the building and then breaks down a water tower, which drowns the little child.
Bizarro and clumsy.
Yes. Oh, Bizarro, you're so awesome. So, the little boy's almost drowning, Superman sweeps in, saves the day, and gives the kid to some random person. Okay, fine, he has a hat, so he looks like an official, but I'm just saying
it's
Superman...
an official hat.
I'm just saying Superman, come on, just handing the kid off to some random
person. It's a firefighter.
Anybody can dress up like a firefighter. My faith in Superman lowered.
Oh, look! Just because I dress up as a firefighter, for parties on weekends,
he freeze breaths the water.
I love the freeze breath.
It's gonna leave this giant ice sheet over this section of the city, and
the good thing ice melts.
If it's summer.
If the air is warmer than the ice, which it is.
I'm just giving it crap.
I don't.
Okay, cool. So it zooms over now to this farmer. And now there's these little meteors falling down, and by meteors I mean little chunks of trash from space trash. that Bizarro is releasing onto the field.
Yeah. From here on out is where I get confused with this story.
What do you mean? Like, so I feel like what's going on here is Bizarro. Well, he says.
If
Well,
Superman's trying to communicate with Bizarro, and it's all that backwards talk.
So like.
I guess it's the ending that I got confused about.
So what's going on here is that Superman is trying to convince Bizarro to be good, but since Bizarro takes everything in reverse, he's like, oh, well, no, I need to be bad. I'm going to attack. And when he, essentially, Superman ends up tricking Bizarro.
Into doing something good. I was confused as to what the thing is that he's doing.
Let me look really quick. No, that unit is working perfectly. We spent a lot of money. Where were they last? I actually am not too sure either now that I'm looking at this.
Yeah, so that was a point of confusion, but otherwise, a pretty cool story.
It looks like he just got some cameras strapped onto him, and he's just doing NASA exploration, honestly.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Because it said that NASA was doing some funding. It looks to me like as though, look, he's like right up to the sun almost, or some sort of star. So I think that, he's just, because it's flying at the speed of light, he's a...
So here's a question, and I saw somebody ask this on the internet. If Bizarro is like the opposite of Superman, and
then why isn't he?
Then why doesn't the yellow sun make him take away his powers?
Well,
here's the thing: if he was the complete opposite, he would be like super weak. You know what I mean?
Does the sun give Superman his powers?
Yeah.
Ah, see, I didn't know that.
The yellow radiation. Then the Golden Age continuity was like the gravity change, gave him the powers.
One time they said something about electricity, and he was wearing like this electric suit. It was blue. It was all blue, and it was blue and yellow. It was like, do you know anything about that suit?
No.
We'll have to look that up. But anyways, do not stray off too much. But so Bizarro, you know what? If you try to do opposites and everything, you're gonna keep switching around. Because honestly, when you really have to go into philosophy and what is an opposite exactly.
Yeah, if you get into the semantics of that, it kind of ruins it. Because if he's literally the opposite of everything Superman does, he would walk backwards. Although they have stuff where he flies backwards in the Silver Age, but and has freeze.
He flies backwards.
And has
awesome.
freeze vision, but
freeze vision.
But here's the thing: if he was literally opposite Superman, he'd be like super weak. He'd be like the Glass Man from Unbreakable.
Or maybe he'd be an extreme, like, super powerful Superman. Like, Superman, he's so powerful, Superman is weak. In contrast. Because just because Superman seems to be ultimate powerful doesn't mean that you can't keep raising the bar.
Okay.
Because Superman sets that bar.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Okay. So that's that book.
So that's the end of that book. Now we have Daredevil Dark Knights, which I'm sorry to say, it was well done. I'm not much of a Daredevil fan.
Well, okay, this is the start of an 8-issue limited series, and I guess it's actually going to be several stories and several creative teams. But this first story is written and illustrated by Lee Weeks, who was, if you remember, the classic Daredevil artist in the 80s. Really cool to see him, play with this character again. This is a pretty neat story. I think I'm going to keep picking up this limited series. What do you want to say about this? Let's talk about the plot. It's Snowstorm. Daredevil's been caught in this, and...
Well, Daredevil's just... Yeah, he's walking through this snowstorm, and these couple guys show up, and they just beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting... Oh, crud. The crud out of him, and it ends up getting knocked out. So, he's in his civilian clothes, so eventually after several hours, people end up finding him, and they bring him into this cafe, and he ends up getting sent to the hospital for hypothermia.
Hypnotherapy is what I used to call that. It's crazy. It's totally different things. But, and then he wakes up, he doesn't realize who he is for a while, he's hearing all this stuff, and he's like, whoa, what? Like he forgot about the powers. And then he remembers when somebody finds, he opens up his briefcase and is like, hey, this John Doe is Daredevil. So he suits up and he goes out on his merry way to go and find somebody who has stolen the heart
of this other story. So you're also in the beginning, you're introduced to this family that's going on this like car ride, and everybody's really excited because dad's always busy, and a car accident happens. And the mom and dad are fine, the little sister's fine, but the son happens to have gotten seriously damaged.
And in a way, he was going to die, but he's waiting for a heart transplant that will save him. And so, but in the confusion of the storm and the hospital going cray-cray, And some guys try to steal some shit stuff, and they steal the heart, and so Daredevil's gonna try and track him down. That's kind of where the story goes. So yeah, I want to see the resolution of this. I think it's gonna be cool.
I think I want to continue to see how it finishes. I think the art is alright. I like it, and I think that the story is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just Daredevil himself. I think this comic is fine. I think if you don't care for Daredevil, even you might enjoy this issue.
Yeah.
I just
He's like the superhero I relate to the most.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's just like me. He's white. He's blind. Wait, no, just kidding. Except the reading part. You know what I mean. So really excited about this next book. After a long hiatus, Kurt Busiek has returned with a brand new Astro City #1, and I read the trades of the original stuff probably like 10 years ago, and I really liked it, and I'm really excited to continue with this series. This is probably your first...
This is my first introduction to Astro City, and it's weird, I guess. I don't know, it's weird jumping in. I feel like a lot of this, so, in the beginning, we got this crazy villain dude who's talking about how he's gonna stir up some trouble. I'm not familiar with who he is. I get the feeling that he's kind of like, he was a big villain, a big shot inside, like, the last Astro City, story.
And I don't remember this guy, so...
But, so, it's him talking about how he's going to stir some trouble, and there's all these different superheroes flying around. Like this chibi girl, American chibi. And, he's, like, going through superhero to superhero, kind of debating who he's going to use. And you don't know what he's talking about exactly. But
you still never figure it out.
He's just kind of like, reading through their personalities and going, no, so-and-so is already on a team, or has already been done.
And
you're like, done?
Samaritan, the main guy, he's the Superman of the Astro City, kind of universe, what is a key player in this, and I enjoy him a lot.
So this door appears out of nowhere.
It's this big space door. And this, anyway, all these super folks are coming there to try and, like, how do we, open it or make contact or whatever. And eventually out comes this guy. He's like a Galactus, celestial type, but benevolent. He's
asking for someone to come with him. And
to be his guide to learn about, for his people to learn about Earth. And he chooses a regular person, which is cool, without an agenda, which is really smart. And
well, this guy is actually pushed. So this random civilian, earlier in the comic.
Oh, he's pushed by the purple supervillain guy.
Yeah, he's pushed by the purple supervillain guy in the beginning to go to the door and to speak out and offer himself as being the guide.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't know he's being manipulated. He feels like he's volunteering.
So you obviously you get that him being sent is part of his evil plot that you're really ignorant to.
Yeah.
So it goes back to him telling you about how there's all this like evil plot brewing, and about how he's being all vague, and about how how we need to go. And I love how he's breaking the
fourth wall.
The fourth wall, and he's talking directly to the readers. But he's like, but remember to skip the next page. Whatever you do, do not read the next page. So
and it turns out he's in a mental asylum.
And
so was that all a dream? We don't know. Is he like the psycho pirate? I don't know.
I think
that's what it made me think of.
I think it was probably just a little sort of like haha to introduce the series in.
Sure.
I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen next. I get the feeling that he actually is in the asylum, and
really like the cover art by Alex Ross. It's good. I'm glad that he came back and did that. I really like the artist, the penciler on this. I look at it and it's like, wow. His name's hang on. Great, dead air on the show. Excellent. Anyway, the penciler really reminds me of like Neil Adams or Jerry Ordway. It's Brent Eric Anderson. I am not familiar with him, but I just became a big fan because he's a lot like two of my favorite comic artists. So
one thing I can say about the art that I like is that each superhero seems to have a different sort of style.
Yeah,
kind of.
It's very distinct.
It's very distinct. So I'm impressed that he can jump from chibi, American chibi to this Valkyrie chick. I don't know her name.
I can't remember either. It's been so long since I've read original Astro City. I meant to go back and reread them, leading up to this new one coming out, but I just didn't have time.
Personally, if you haven't read the original Astro City series, I'd recommend going ahead and reviewing that and like reading through that before
Yeah, I
you
mean,
pick this up.
but your local. I remember I read it, checked them out from the library. So if you got no dough, you can just check them out from the library. But also, you don't have to have read anything to read this either. So it's kind of cool.
So that's where I feel like I kind of disagree. I feel like I would have really preferred. Well, I guess you don't have to, but I really know that after reading that issue, I would have preferred to have read the series before.
Yeah, but I like. I mean, I read much of the original Astro City, and there wasn't much that I remembered. I just because it was like 10 years ago or longer. But I remember really enjoying it and liking it. I like how Kurt Busiek really plays with the DC and Marvel kind of archetypes and created his own universe. That's really awesome. And he lives right here in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
I gotta say Oregon instead of Oregon, just because people are bad. People mispronounce it Oregon. I gotta mock them. But Jimmy, do you know people all over the world listen to this show?
No, I did not know that.
Now you know, and no one's half the battle.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. So our last book for today, and this actually came out last week. It's Smallville, season 11, number 13. And it's the first part of a story with Superman going to the future with Booster Gold and the Legion of Superheroes and stuff. Now, I've never watched Smallville, so I'm a little like, huh? Can you fill in a little bit like as to where we are coming in with this story?
So I never finished the 10th season. I've gone all the way through the 9th season, and I have like 6 episodes left. So I'm a little confused in some parts. But so what I can...
The series ends with him going to Metropolis to be Superman, right?
I don't know. Actually, to be completely, I don't know if that happens at the beginning of season 7, which is what this series is. I don't know, the very first issue. So, what I do know now is that Superman is now Superman. He's not oh gosh, what did they call him? The Shadow or the Cloak or.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Superman. Back when Clark Kent was starting to save people in Smallville.
Yeah.
He was using an alias. He wore this black trench coat. He wore a black T-shirt with the Superman symbol in gray and black pants. And he was known as, I can't remember the exact name. It was something like the Shadow or like the.
Okay.
Anyways, so now he's actually wearing the Superman costume, which was actually left for him by, I believe, his mother.
Laura.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she left him the costume. So now he's wearing it, which gets me kind of psyched. In this issue, though, I guess we should probably talk about this. It starts off with a bunch of people in the Arctic, and it looks like they are...
And Booster Gold saves them from the abominable snowman.
Yeah, there's an abominable snowman attacking them, and Booster Gold shows up. But then, out of nowhere, his powers deactivate, and it shows that he's wearing a Legion ring. And...
Well, he always had the Legion flight ring. That was how he flew.
Well, I don't know.
Oh yeah, because he was from the 25th century, and he worked it in a museum, stole it, and used, I want to say, Rip Hunter's time machine to travel back to the 20th century and become like a celebrity and superhero.
Okay.
Now you're up to speed with Booster Gold, basically.
So he depowers, and there's this whole mystery in this comic as to why he has the ring.
Right, because Booster was from the 25th century. The Legion were in the 31st.
Oh, snap. So
Snappity snap snap.
And it cuts off to
Snapping
Clark
like a catfish.
and Lois in the shower, and there's all this suggestive like wording and oh yes.
But he's just like washing her hair.
Yeah, and it's rather kind of silly and a little.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, it goes into this whole thing where Superman is talking about how he should probably dress into his costume and start saving people.
Yeah.
He's been on hiatus for a little while. And he makes reference to the fact
Summer
that
hiatus.
Flash died.
Well, Bart Allen. That's Impulse.
Impulse. Oh, I thought they were the same person. Snap.
Impulse became the Kid Flash.
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay.
Because Wally is the Flash. Yeah. Because the original Kid Flash became the Flash.
Educated or getting in school.
But yeah, Impulse became the Kid Flash. But he died. He's dead in the regular DC continuity.
He was alive when I was reading, so.
Yeah, well, I mean,
when I was
even before the New 52, Bart Allen died in the regular DC continuity. But anyway.
All right, so Clark goes to. I guess he goes off and saves the world and does some stuff, and he ends up getting dressed in his regular Clark Kent costume.
Booster Gold shows up at the planet. Talk about the Daily Planet. Talk about embarrassing. Not just because it's Booster Gold.
And Clark notices how he has a Legion ring, and when they make contact and Clark touches the ring, automatically it says that he's an authorized Legion user, and they flash into the future.
Without a time bubble?
Yeah, I guess so.
Which is weird.
This little pop. It's just a little pop, and there's like pink energy.
Yeah, he didn't get in a time bubble. He didn't fly really fast to break the time barrier like he would do in the Silver Age. None of that. They just show up in the future.
Well, the ring transported them through time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's weird. I've never seen it do that.
Oh, okay. It does it in the Smallville series.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, in the Smallville series, the ring can help them.
Because they probably thought the time bubble would be too Glenda the Good Witch.
Well, yeah,
and silly.
For the common audience, and
Yeah, that makes sense. But okay, so they show up in the future, and a couple Legionnaires like Brainiac 5 and Lightning Lad are like prisoners on this ship that's crashing while they're trying to escape. And they're like, and Superman catches the ship as it crashes, and then they're captured, and Superman has to go get them. Turns out the Earth is at war with New Krypton, which is Argo City established on another planet.
So what happened at the end of season 9, I believe, of Smallville, is Zod showed up. And he had this group of Kryptonians who were pretending to be human on Earth.
Did he make them kneel before him?
He was going to try and convince everyone to try and take over Earth, but Clark ended up outing Zod as a bad guy, because Zod actually, in the show, killed one of the Kryptonians and tried to blame it on Clark.
Really?
So Clark ended up getting everybody to know the light, the truth, and see what was going on, and he ended up sending them off to this other galaxy universe area, so that way they could continue living, because the other alternative was...
it was the Phantom Zone, right?
No, he didn't send them to the Phantom Zone. He's,
Oh, yeah, because he doesn't have the Phantom Zone projector, because he doesn't have the Fortress of Solitude yet. Right?
No, he had the Fortress of Solitude.
On Smallville?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
He got it in the 4th season.
Alright, I have never seen the show, I'm just... Okay.
It's all good. So, okay, essentially...
Are you laughing at me?
Yeah, I am laughing. I'm laughing and coughing because of my allergies.
Oh, sorry about the allergies, Jimmy.
It's okay. But yeah, so we sent him off into this other galaxy area, because the alternative was, I think, having them die in some,
No, that's the show. Let's go back to the comic.
Well, this is the comic.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. I'm crazy. Just go ahead. Continue. Just don't listen to me. Just go. Do what you do.
Anyways, so, I guess what happened is the Kryptonians are now at war with Earth for that reason.
Oh, because the Federated Planets or whatever, they weren't gonna let them join because they were too young. And so oh yeah, well we're gonna get superpowers and just take over Earth. We'll show you. Just not very nice.
Nah, I think it's totally cool. Sarcasm.
I wonder if they would form an alliance with the Dominators.
I have no idea who the Dominators are.
They were this alien race from DC Comics, especially as foes of the Legion. In fact, I read the original. I had it. The original story from the Silver Age to introduce the Dominators. They're kind of a big deal. So, and it was a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of ends on a cliffhanger, but the Legion and Superman and Superboy in the future. Oh, and Superman, at the very end, Superman rescues Kara, Supergirl.
Who was, for some reason, captured by the Legion. I presume because she's Kryptonian and the Kryptonians
She's
are
captured by the Legion?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Yeah, well, don't you remember... Well, prior to this Kryptonian war, Superboy and Supergirl were, at separate times, members of the Legion.
Well, you have to keep in mind that this is Smallville universe.
All right, I'm just referring to the original continuity. Okay. There's going to be parallels.
Yes.
Did that happen in the show? Was Supergirl part of the show?
Yeah, she was a part of the show, yeah. She was pretty big for a couple seasons, then she disappeared, and she'd come in and out every once in a while.
Okay.
Actually, she was pretty consistent, and it was kind of weird how they kind of kept her inconsistent after the first 2 seasons she was in.
Yeah.
But she just kind of would show up and disappear.
Okay. So, let me ask you this, Jimmy. Did you like this comic?
I did like it. I'm a little confused, to be completely honest, but that's to be expected.
It's a weird point coming in,
It's a weird point coming in. I guess it's not the worst because it's the beginning of a new story.
New story arc, that's
part
good.
1 of the storyline called Argo. But
Argo City. Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I guess if I hadn't watched Smallville, I probably would read the series, and I
Yeah.
just to continue to see what's going on.
Yeah. Do you think you're gonna keep buying this book, or?
Yes, I'm definitely because I think Smallville's amazing, and I just don't want to end at the 10th season once I finish those episodes. So I'm gonna have to grab all the back issues and then continue on with this.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Jimmy? I think we're gonna wrap up.
No, I think it's good. I'm ready to wrap up. So I guess you all have a wonderful night, day, afternoon, whatever time.
We'll do this again next Wednesday. See you later.